What's up, Mesa Falcons? It's me, it's CGB. I'm here with Raren. Raren, do you know what today is?
No, can I ask you a question? Do you still call your audience Mesa Falcons?
Of course. Why wouldn't I? It's now part of the canon history of the channel, pal. See what you did? I'm like, hey, give me 2 minutes to come up with an intro, and he derails it immediately. This is what we deal with. This is how we roll. No. I'll tell you what day it is. It's the day. Let's put it on you now. It's the day of your final exam for understanding the commander ban list. Okay. Yes, indeed. Have you learned anything from these last two videos?
No, but did that card get nerfed? I forget its name. What is it? Something with an N. I feel
Nadu?
Like. Yeah, did it get nerfed yet?
As of right now, absolutely not.
Really?
In any format. So we recorded that video, fun fact, before the Pro Tour, the latest Pro Tour, which was in the format of Modern, which is not what we're covering. We haven't done the Modern ban list yet. We might someday. Could be fun. Okay. I get a lot of requests for that. But this was a Modern Pro Tour, and it was the first Pro Tour that Nadu was a legal card in. And we had that talk at the end, spoiler for that video, but we talked about it getting banned at the end of that video. And Nadu was just destroyed the Pro Tour. Destroyed it. It was like 6 of the top 8 decks. It won the Pro Tour. Everything about the Pro Tour was Nadu. I was at the Pro Tour in Amsterdam. I walked by a table watching one of my friends, Eli Cassis, play for top 8. And it was turn 3, and his board was like his whole deck. Because of Nadu. Yeah, absolutely busted card. As of now, by the time this video comes out, if it's anything with the luck I have, but as of now, Nadu is not nerfed or banned, banned anywhere. From anything. It's fine.
Surprising.
This is fine.
Okay.
And modern players are furious about that, but that's a whole other subject. We're here to talk about Commander. And for your final exam, I am going to show you 10 more cards that are on the Commander ban list, and each one will have a partner in a pair that is not on the Commander ban list. So you are going to look at a pair and figure out which one is banned and which one is not banned in Commander. Okay. And it's going to be a lot of fun because I'm going to warm you up with a sample one. This is just a warm-up one. Just for you.
This isn't on the test. This is like the study guide.
This is just a warm-up to remind you how it works. Okay. Which of these cards do you think is banned in Commander?
Wait,
Thassa's Oracle
you've shown me,
or Coalition Victory?
You've shown me both of these before, right? Yeah. I feel like the one that was banned is Coalition Victory, right? Yeah.
But what would you have picked if you hadn't?
I mean,
see? We're just setting the stage here,
to be
buddy.
honest, I would have picked the Oracle over it. Yeah, you're right. Because I remember I thought that the Coalition Victory was not banned, but I do know the results. I cheated, so it's Coalition Victory.
Yeah, like I said, this is just a warm-up and not at all to mess with your head.
Okay.
Sound like fun?
Yeah.
All right. 10 pairs. Here comes the first pair.
I'm actually very nervous, and I'm guessing these are cards I've never seen before, right? Okay,
that's right.
And is that an otter? It is.
It's an otter.
Elemental otter. Okay. Luttree or Luttree? Luttree.
Luttree is commonly used.
The Spell Chaser. 1 neutral. How do you say that mana? Blue red.
It's up for interpretation. Hybrid mana is what it's known as.
Okay, you can all see the mana cost at the top right. Companion, each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name. Huh? Wait, what do you mean companion? Like, does that start on the board?
Read the little parenthesis reminder text. It explains the card.
Reading is not my strong suit. You should know this by now. If this card is your chosen companion, you may cast it once from outside the game. Wait a minute. We had another card that was like this that was also very strong. Flash, when this enters the battlefield, if you cast it, copy target instant or sorcerer spell you control. Oh. You may choose new targets for the copy. Oh. Okay, hold on. It's a 3/2. I don't know how relevant that really is, but
I will flesh out companion because it doesn't actually explain it enough.
You.
Yep, no problem. So,
guys giving me shit for reading the brackets.
Of course, we have to start somewhere.
I gave you a video for my video.
Oh my goodness, I missed you. Anyway, companion is you meet the deck building cost that is across from companion. You build your deck in a certain way, and this card can start in what's called the companion zone, which is an area outside of the deck. It's like, you know how the commander's in the command zone? The companion zone is a different zone, but it's like that. And at some point during the game, you may pay 3 mana at sorcery speed to take the companion from the companion zone and move it to your hand.
Okay. That makes sense. And that is a part of your deck, right? Like it's still your deck building process. It's still one of the cards added to your deck.
So yeah, in Commander, you're required to have a 100 card deck. The Commander is 1, so the 99 is your deck. If you have a Companion, the Companion is in the Companion zone, and you have a 98 card deck. So yeah, it's one of your deck.
Okay.
You can not follow the Companion restrictions and put, say, Lutri, for example, in your deck as just one of your cards as well. If you don't want to follow the requirement.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, and the companion, since it has flash, you could do this at any point in the game as long as you have the mana for it.
As long as at some point you paid 3 mana to remove Lutri from the companion zone and put Lutri into your hand.
Okay,
which
so
by the way, that rule didn't always exist. When companions were first printed, you could just cast them from the companion zone anytime. There was no tax for them.
Okay, so just so I'm fully clear. It goes into your hand, and then do you have to pay the additional, like, its mana cost to put it in the game or in the board?
That is the way it functions now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's like it's a lot more mana than it reads on the card if it's your companion. Okay. That is important to note here. Okay.
What's also, I will say it's equally important to note that in the beginning, for like the first month and a half of Companion's existence, that was not the case. You could just cast it from the Companion zone without paying 3.
And when I'm evaluating this, if I'm guessing which one's mana, I'm guessing I'm basing it on the current iteration of Companion.
That is hard to do it's hard to flesh that out because then you get into if it were banned, when it got banned. So you kind of have to be aware of both.
Okay, I'm just going to say this right now. If you tell me that this card if I pick the other card, you're like, well, actually, it was banned before the rule changed. I get the point. I don't give a fuck what you say. That's ridiculous.
I don't have to give you anything. I'm just telling you about cards and the history of rules.
Okay, let me read this other one first before we get here. Jeweled Lotus, 0 mana. It's an artifact. Tap, sacrifice Jeweled Lotus at 3 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to cast your commander. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Let me scroll up to Nadu real fast.
Yes, you can cast Nadu on turn 1 with 1 land.
See,
yes.
That feels way worse than the other one. The other one's potential is really, really big, but like this is just it's 0 mana. It's a card for 3 mana. Like that's not fair. Like, you don't even have to have a land to play this card. You don't even have to have lands to play your commander. It's disgusting. That's not fair. No, like, surely it has to be this one. Okay, hold on. I gotta rationalize this in my head. If I draw this later in the game, is it bad? No, it's still good. It's still 3 mana specifically for your commander, but I guess if your commander's on board, this is useless, but you could just wait for your commander to die. If I draw it in the early game, it's nuts. If I sacrifice it at some point, it's fine, or discard it, whatever, it's fine. If I don't need it anymore. I mean, all around, this card's very, very strong. It's tough because if this Otter, who looks fantastic, by the way, I love the art on this card. It's a phenomenal. I don't it seems like it's a lot of mana. Like, you're paying 3 mana and then paying an additional 3 mana to get into board. If you've explained it to me well enough that I understand how this works. But it's flash.
I think you do. I think we've got it. The thing I would just say is try to evaluate. I guess just try to evaluate both. If it didn't cost the 3 more, would it be the pick? Or if it did cost the 3 more, would it matter?
And I mean, if it's before the rule change, I'm pretty sure it's the Otter. Like, that is fucking insane. Like, if you cast a 10 mana spell. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Instant or sorcery spell. See, this can't be a minion because spells are minions in this game. In case you didn't know.
Correct.
Or minions are spells in this game, I should say. So
sure.
That means if I cast a 10 mana like sorcery spell, then I have the 3 additional mana to spend on this. It does the 10 mana spell twice, and I get a 3/2 on board.
Mm-hmm.
That is ridiculous. There's not even like a thing like that in Hearthstone. Like that's insane. Is there something like that in Hearthstone? Maybe. I don't think so. Oh God. See, that seems way more oppressive than just getting your. I guess the potential of the otter is way higher than the other one, the jeweled card. But the jeweled card could just win you the game on the spot. If you have it in your opening hand, it could be just absolute devastation for your opponents because you're so far ahead. But I guess removal and magic is much better than it is in Hearthstone. Like, it at least appears like that's the case. Because you said like in our previous video, there's like a 4 mana just AoE clear the whole board.
Yeah. So, the Wrath of God is a card,
and also you don't have to draw. You don't have to draw the otter, right? Like it's just there, and then whenever you need, you just spend 3 mana.
Yeah,
it's like you have an additional hand
chilling.
spot.
Yeah,
I mean, that seems pretty good. I'm gonna pick the otter. That seems like before the rule change. Yeah,
you are okay. You're really going out on a limb. You're saying it's the otter, but before the rule change.
Okay, I'm just gonna say the otter just in case it's after the rule change. But that seems very strong. That seems very strong.
It is the otter. Lutri is that rare card. I don't even know if this has happened at any other point in the format. Lutri was banned before it was released.
Wait,
yeah.
Hold on. This is from the commander committee, right?
Yeah. We're gonna read it. First printed in 2020 April, banned in 2020 of April.
That's so funny.
Literally announced as a banned card a week before the set was available to the public.
that's pretty great.
Lutri is in a unique category of banned cards that interact poorly with the structure of the format.
That makes sense.
In general terms, companions encourage creative deck building and reinforce the idea that self-imposed restrictions can be fun and novel. Lutri's restriction is met by nearly all commander decks. So it allows all decks with blue and red to have a 101st card in deck and 8th card in their hand.
Oh my God. Yeah, it seems really good. Really good. Very good.
Yeah. The 101st card comment is funny because actually it doesn't. It just but the 8th card in hand is basically how it works.
I feel like in a game like Magic, especially, like having that extra card that's not like in your hand, but it's in your hand is like really, really powerful.
Oh, it's very, very powerful.
Yeah,
every resource in a card game is powerful. Getting something free just for building the certain way is very powerful. When building a certain way is basically do what you were going to do anyway, it just becomes like, what are we doing here? Everybody gets a Lutri, right?
So, like, semantically, does that mean like at the start of the game, like you just pull this card out of your deck and just put it to the side?
Yeah,
and then,
that's basically what it is.
And just to also like furthermore, like the ban list, was this before or after the rule change to the companion?
This was this was before the set even came out, and it was the first ever companion set. So this is before the rule change.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The companion rule change, which added what's called the companion tax, the additional 3 mana to put it in your hand instead of just cast it whenever. That took about, I think, like a month and a half, something like that, before that had to happen. Companions they broke Magic. There's no other way to put it. Every format became a companion format. Every deck became a companion deck because getting that extra card was so worth it. And there are other companions. I think I showed you Luris in the past, which was all of your spells have to cost 2 or less. Yeah, that was completely insane.
Yeah.
And that's like a 3/2 lifelink that gave you a little bit of value from your graveyard. Absolutely busted. So, yep, I am curious. Would Lutri have been banned if the companion tax were a thing? And probably, because it just homogenizes deck building, right? Why would you ever play a 4 or 3 color commander that's not in blue and red when you could have a free companion if you play blue and red? It's just kind of lame.
I see what you're saying, but at that point, that's a lot more mana, right?
It is a lot more mana. The card isn't busted, but I think people will trick themselves into needing maximized value, and Commander is honestly a format that's better when you're not maximizing. So I think they'd still ban it. Jeweled Lotus is another one of those cards designed by Wizards of the Coast in a Commander product that players kind of hate because it does make the game so lopsided.
Yep.
It is so annoying when the opponent gets their busted commander on turn 1 or 2 from a Jeweled Lotus, and it puts them so far ahead. People hate this card. This is one of the most expensive cards that's been printed and reprinted in recent years, and it still holds like over $100 price tag. Like that is another that's another reason people hate it. It's prohibitively expensive, and I think people would like it to be banned. It is house banned in a lot of like play groups, but Jeweled Lotus, as of right now, not actually banned.
What the fuck? Yeah, it's I mean,
wild.
Yeah, I would say the fact that it's very like specific to your commander, I guess, is like probably the reason it's not banned. But having it in your opening hand is disgusting. Like that just feels bad. Which is again, the line is so blurred on how they ban cards. I understand the otter though. The otter's kind of disgusting. But
all right,
I'm excited to see what else they use.
You are 1-0.
I am.
You should quit right now.
Should I? All right, I'll see you later.
No, I hear. Not letting you off that easy.
Oh god, what is this? Burgeoning? That sounds bad. What is happening with that tree over there? When an opponent plays a land, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. This is a permanent effect on the board?
Yeah.
Yeah, the card must be insane. Give me a second. Hold on, that feels like the... Dude, I'm just about to get Hearthstone. Whenever your opponent gains a mana crystal, you also gain a mana crystal. Okay, what is this? Fast Bond, 1 green. You may put as many lands into play as you want each turn. Fast Bond does 1 damage to you for every land beyond the first one that you play in a single turn. So, one of these says, pay a card. You could get more mana initially, but you take damage. I think the damage is almost irrelevant. And the other one says for 1 card, you gain mana whenever another player gets mana. Or land, sorry. But it's also from your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And lands, the additional lands other than the first one are not tapped as well. You can use that mana immediately.
Say that again.
With Fast Bond,
yes.
all the lands that you play that turn.
Yes, they're untapped.
They're untapped.
Yep. You can use them immediately. Yep.
Oh my god, dude. I mean, the other one, like, okay, burgeoning is like, it's good. Like, that's a good effect, especially if you're I've never asked you this question. I'm gonna ask this now because I truly don't know. Who goes first in Commander?
You flip coins, roll dice. There is one player who gets lucky and goes first.
Okay, so if you're going first, this has the potential to be so nuts. The problem is it's not nearly as good as if you're going last. Like, it's going to get value probably no matter what, but I like the other one a lot more. The other one is so much more abusable than burgeoning. So I think Fast Bond is the one that's banned. But the only reason I can think that burgeoning might be banned is because, like, from a player's perspective, it probably feels so awful thinking about, like, oh, if I play a land, he also gets a land. Like, that is the only reason I'm not just saying that Fast Bond's like the better card. I think objectively speaking, Fast Bond is the better card, especially in like a standard format. Like Fast Bond, you break the game. Burgeoning does not. But like, if we're talking about ban in a Commander format and their rules are so crazy, it's so interesting. I talked to, by the way, I don't know if I told you this. I was talking to Noah, Magic the Noah. Like I think I've talked about him before. You know who he is by chance?
Yeah.
I was talking to him about how I've been doing these videos with you, and he's also on the same boat as me now. Like they literally throw a dartboard at like, what cards they ban, which I thought was really funny.
Seems to be a popular opinion in our comment section as well.
Okay, so if they're throwing, I don't know, man. I feel like Fast Bond has the potential to be disgusting. Like it's so good. The only problem with like they both have the problem of if you don't have the lands in your hand, this card's useless. But like on average, as far as I remember when playing Magic Arena for a bit, you often get like 3 lands. Like that's like the average. It felt like. Could you agree with that? Just so I have some kind of baseline. Okay, so if I have this card and I have 3 lands, I can use all that mana immediately. And that also means that when I come back to my turn, I have the additional mana. Also, that also means that you can use instants against players immediately if you have those cards in hand. Dude, I think it's fast spawned. I would be very surprised if it's burgeoning. I think fast spawn is just disgusting. Like, that seems like a very disgusting card to play against. So I'm gonna pick that one.
It is fast spawn. Fast spawn is banned.
Okay.
You're on a roll.
Okay.
Burgeoning, I was proud of the analysis because there is kind of a feels bad to I play a land, now you get a land. And when you play burgeoning on turn 1, and if the player who plays a burgeoning has enough lands in hand, then the following turn they untap with like 4 mana, and there is that commander feeling of we did this to ourselves. You know, it's a very strong card. But what are you going to do? Not play a land? You have to.
Yes.
But Fast Bond, well, let's see what the committee has to say. First printed in 1993, banned in 2009, Fast Bond exploits 2 unique and important aspects of the format. Number 1, higher life totals make the damage essentially trivial if played in the early game. Yep. And 2, players always have something to do with the mana, such as cast their commander. Fast Bond often catapults its controller ahead by producing huge amounts of mana and landfall triggers. Yep. I think that the place where Fast Bond gets busted, and I know this from playing Fast Bond way back in the day in various formats, is when you use effects to draw a bunch of cards. So if you can cast wheel effects that draw new hands, like 7-card new hand, or if you are drawing 3 to 4 cards a turn using some kind of a mana for cards engine, and you're just playing more and more and more, if you're playing 3 to 4 lands a turn with Fast Bond, not only does it get out of hand, it's just completely busted, right?
Yeah.
And that's where Fast Bond just surges ahead of burgeoning.
Yeah. I feel like with Fast Bond, you have the potential to win the game on turn 1. Where burgeoning, you don't have that option to. Like, it's probably the defining factor. I'm sure there's possible to get a first turn kill. Maybe not first turn kill because you can't attack immediately with your minion. Actually, I don't even know. There probably is potential with it if you put. I have
one on their turn 1. We'll say with Fast Bond. It usually involved like playing out a bunch of stuff and using a time walk effect to take an extra turn. I've beaten people before they get a turn because of Fast Bond. Yep.
That's wow.
Yeah, good times.
Okay.
Good times.
Imagine playing a game of Magic and you don't even get to play.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Isn't that... Dude, when you talk about card games scamming people, that's the ultimate scam.
Well,
I mean, thought we were going to play, you're dead.
That's a Yu-Gi-Oh turn, bro. That's fucking crazy. Okay. Limited resources, 1 white mana. When limited resources comes into play, each player chooses 5 lands he or she controls and sacrifices the rest. As long as there are 10 or more lands in players, as long as there are 10 or more lands in play, players cannot play lands. So if we have both 5, no more lands can be played. But if I destroy one of yours and I put one in play, you can only have 4 until you destroy one of mine.
In a 1v1 game, yeah, this is exactly how it works.
Wait, oh my God, this is so fucked. Wait, in command. So wait, hold on. Each player chooses 5 lands. So if we have let's say we have 10 lands each, and then I play this card. Do we all go down to 5, or is there a discussion on who's sacrificing their lands so we can have 10? But I guess, okay, so there'd be 20, but you just can't play any more lands.
That's right.
Okay. Because it doesn't say you have to go to 10. It just says they have to choose 5. So this very much limits the game. Oh my God. See, this is the thing, bro. If you go to fast spawn into this card, GG. What do they'd be the most miserable thing I've ever seen in my life. Okay. Mana Breach, 2 neutral, 1 blue. Whenever a player plays a spell, that player returns a land he or she controls to the owner's hand. Oh my God. Man, enchantments in this game feel like they're so unfun to play against. What the hell?
You are definitely getting to see a who's who of the toxic cards.
That is.
And a lot of them are enchantments, yeah.
Oh my God. Mana Breach is just anti-fun, dude. What the hell? I can maybe understand that. Strategically speaking, limited resources adds a cool element to the game. In a vacuum, of course. If I'm thinking contextually and I get to go fast spawn into that, it's disgusting. But I think on average it's not as bad. But Mana Breach is so frustrating to play against. That is crazy. And it's so miserable because every player has to deal with that. Oh my God. Dude, if you got to go first and you played this card before your opponent gets to play any cards, that is miserable. I don't know how often that can happen. Blue, I don't know if blue can do that, but
it's possible. Yeah. 3 mana on turn 1 is possible in any color combination in Commander with the right cards.
Okay, so man, if I'm basing this off what is the most unfun thing to play against, it's Mana Breach by far. This card is so crazy. What? I'm trying to think of it in Hearthstone. Like, play this card for 3 mana. My opponent plays a card, and they just like. So sorry, a spell, right? So that means like minions as well, or creatures.
Creatures as well.
There's no.
They
fun.
are spells.
That's not fair, dude. That's so unfun. No, dude, that's so unfun. Does that count to your commander?
Yeah, your commander counts as a spell. Yeah.
Is it really that bad? I'm trying to think of how bad this actually is in like practicality without ever playing against something like this. I'm starting to think Yu-Gi-Oh is not as bad as this game, dude. Like this is crazy.
Oh, wow. OG salty game.
I'm gonna go with Mana Breach. I think it is way less fun than the other one. I think I can give an element of like strategy to the other one, but Mana Breach just feels awful to play against, and it really like makes people not want to play Commander. So I'll go with Mana Breach.
Mana Breach is absolutely no fun to play against. It is awful, and it is completely legal in Commander.
Really? Wow.
It is. I can't believe it either. I can't believe it either. Limited resources is banned in Commander. Let's hear what they have to say. First printed in 1998, banned in 2008, limited resources is probably the easiest card on the ban list to justify. I could just stop there, but let's keep going. It does not scale with the number of players. So as early as turn 2, it effectively reads players can't play any more lands on a 1 mana enchantment. So yeah, that's the hard part about limited resources is if you play this early enough when everybody is playing, quote, fair magic, just playing a land and casting a spell. If this comes down before turn 3, then like 2 players will have 3 lands. 3 players
I can
will
understand
have...
that. Sure. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. So like 2 lands, 2 lands, 2 lands, 2 lands, and then a 3rd land comes down, and then another 3rd land comes down, and you're done. It's locked right there.
Yeah, I think from that perspective, I understand why it would be banned. I think both of them should be banned, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
I am surprised not many people talk about Mana Vortex. In fact, when looking at the saltiest card list, which is one of my favorite things to see how people feel about cards in Commander, where do you think this falls on the salty card list? They rank the top 500. 1 is the card people hate the most.
Mana Breach? I'd say like maybe top 20. It seems like so unfun to play against, but there's probably a bunch of cards that you haven't even shown me yet.
It looks like it's currently 66th.
Okay.
Meaning there are 65 cards people hate more than Mana Breach legal in the format, which blows my mind, quite frankly.
That's interesting.
It is.
And I don't know. That card seems so like maybe it's not as bad as I truly think it is. Because like its text reads like it'd be miserable to play against, but maybe like in practicality it's not as bad. But I'm probably coping here. I think it's pretty bad.
Probably coping.
Yeah.
I've played around this card. It's miserable. I think that the thing you want to watch for when looking at Commander specifically is if there's a card that says players cannot do X versus a card that says when a player does this bad thing, the one that says that gives them the option to play is probably going to be legal more often than the one that says they cannot do something.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah, because there's still agency with Mana Breach. You ain't got to do anything.
Yeah. I guess like I was thinking of like it later in the game, which one's more annoying to deal with. But truthfully, in opening hand, limited resources is just so unfun. So I understand why it's banned. Okay. God, fuck.
Yeah.
I want to go perfect here. That one's tough.
That is a tough one. This one is also, well, it's a battle. Let's see what happens.
Okay. What the hell is the art for natural order? What is going on? Did they kill them? I guess it's like the chain. Natural order is 2 neutral, 2 green. As an additional cost to cast natural order, sacrifice a green creature. Search your library for a green creature card and put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Okay. I would tell you that right now in Hearthstone, that would be played. Tinker, 2 neutral, 1 blue. At the time you play Tinker, sacrifice an artifact, search your library for an artifact, put that artifact into play. Oh god. Okay, so it is, would I rather have an artifact or would I rather have a creature? And I get to pick the very specific one I want. One of them requires me to have an artifact on board, and the other one requires me to have a green creature. Now, so you just have to explain something. Does a green creature mean any creature that has the green border or has a green mana in it?
Green border. They're not necessarily the same thing because, for example, a green creature could be a token. A token doesn't have a mana cost. There are a lot of creatures that generate tokens. They're basically...
so just to like further elaborate, Nadu, which has a green and blue like border, like I could pull that card out.
Yep, that's a green creature.
Okay, hold on. Fuck. See, this is another really close one, dude. Like this is... It comes down to which one's more egregious, like which one can cause the most problems. There's so many cards in this game. Artifacts are so, or enchantments seem so, whoa, hold on. Artifacts is like a huge range of cards, right? There's so many versions of artifacts you've shown me where like creatures are specifically creatures.
Oh yeah, you're not a noob anymore. You've seen a lot of cards.
I know. The thing is some of the minions you've shown me in this game are so fucked. Same as like I guess artifacts as well, right?
Yeah.
God, I don't know. This is so ridiculous. And you get to cheat its cost. I feel like both of these can win the game on the spot. A green. It has to be a green creature. Or I can put any artifact in the okay. This is a very toss up for me. I personally, this is kind of a shot in the dark, but this is going to be my logic for this. Because it says green creature, I don't know if there's a green creature that is as egregious as any color artifact. And I feel like an artifact is easier to use its effect and move on from it than, actually, I don't know. Like, I feel like you showed me a lot of like lands that just generate like tokens. Oh my god, I hate this one. This is so... What is this? I'm trying to think of like if you showed me any green creatures that are just so unfun to play against, but none of them are popping in my mind. I feel like Nadu is like a good example of this card though. Like if that card comes on board, like I feel like you could just lose. But I'm sure that's the same thing with artifacts. Oh my god.
I believe in you, man.
They're both the
I believe in you.
I know. Okay, one of them is 2 neutral mana versus 1 color. But if you're putting natural order, you're obviously playing a green deck. Fuck. I'm gonna go with the artifact. I'm going with the artifact. I feel like the artifact is better. I don't know. I feel like the fact that it doesn't have to be specifically green. I feel like finding an artifact can help you get the creature anyways. I'm gonna go with the artifact.
Thank God.
Okay.
It is Tinker. Tinker is banned. Oh my gosh, dude, I know we've done a lot of these, and if you quiz me on specific pairs that you've shown me in Hearthstone, I would have no idea because I've done so many of them. But like, I was really hoping you'd remember some of the pairs that we did in the past. Like there was one specifically of Tolarian Academy where I showed you Gaia's Cradle and Tolarian Academy. One made green mana for creatures, the other made blue mana for artifacts. And we went back and forth on why the blue mana for artifacts one is more busted than the creature one. And I'm glad you got to the right answer because it would have felt bad to bring that up if you got it wrong.
I don't know. See, the doubt in my mind is like, how good of a creature can you pull from this? And is there any creatures in this game that just say like, when this is summoned, like you win the game or you do like 15 damage to something, right?
So there are a lot of things you can do, but not usually from empty board state. You can assemble combos, but you need the other part of the combo. You can pull a card called Craterhoof Behemoth that often wins the game, but you need several creatures on board to win the game with that card.
Okay.
Natural Order is a good card, a damn good card. But Tinker, let's read what they said. 1999 was when it was printed, banned in 2009. Tinker's ability to get high-cost artifacts into play at the very early game often results in games ending extremely quickly or being locked down to the point where players cannot interact meaningfully. Because Tinker's power is tied to the artifacts that are being cheated into play, its power increases over time as artifact designs become more powerful.
Yep, fair enough.
Honestly, that reasoning is very like okay. I feel like it's missing all the context. Let's just say there are artifacts you could get with Tinker on turn 1 that would basically grind the game to a total halt. There's a card called Godfarer's Statue that makes all spells your opponents cast cost 2 more.
Nice.
You could do that on turn 1 with Tinker.
That's it's definitely a preemptive measure for sure. It is it's definitely that's a card that's probably going to be somewhat of an issue if they don't do anything about it. So I understand. It's a tutor and a mana cheat card in a sense. So like that feels like it's not good for the game.
You're 3-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're cooking.
Yeah.
You're doing the thing.
How many pairs are there? There's 10? Okay.
Yeah, there's 10. There's 10.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Are we doing the Canadian system where I need a 50 to pass, or the American system where I need a 60 to pass?
I mean, we'll see. We'll see if it comes down to that.
Okay, Necropotence, 3 black. Oh my god, there's so much text on this card. Skip your draw phase. If you discard a card from your hand, remove that card from the game. Okay. Have you shown me this card before?
I have shown you this card before. When referring to great Magic tournaments of the past, this was a big one.
Wait, what's the 0 mean again?
So 0 is the cost you pay for the effect. You can do it as many times as you can pay the cost. The 0 in this case is, a 0. There's no mana, but there is more to the cost.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So you pay 1 life to set aside the top card of your library at the beginning of your next discard phase. Put that card into your hand. Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this loss of life. Okay, so I'm trying to remember what you said about this card previously, but let me go to the new card real fast, because I remember that card being very good. It seemed like a very nuts effect. Yawg Moth's Bargain. Which one's the moth? Oh, I see it now. Okay. 4 neutral, 2 black. Skip your draw phase. Pay 1 life, draw a card. Now, what's really interesting is from doing a lot of these Yu-Gi-Oh videos, there's a very specific line of text that usually means that a Yu-Gi-Oh card is busted or not. You know what that line of text says? Once per turn. Neither one of these say once per turn.
That's right.
But the thing is, skipping your draw phase is kind of whatever if I could just pay 1 life to draw a card. And Warlock in Hearthstone has that, which is 2 mana, draw a card, take 2 damage. That is not as good as that enchantment, because I'd rather just pay 1 life infinitely to do my combo and win the game, as long as I have the life for that. Now, remind me, Commander, you have 40 life?
That's right.
So is the additional mana cost of this card. See, like, this is bullshit, bro. Like, we're looking at... What is this card? That's so stupid. Is there a card to cheat this card out? Oh, man. That's not fun. Okay, let me read Necro again. At the beginning of your next discard phase, put that card in your hand. Effects that prevent or redirect cannot be used to counter this loss of life. So the difference between this card and the other card is this one is much cheaper, but it is virtually the same effect, but it's delayed draw. Pay 1 life to set the top card of your phase. So yeah, you pay light. You have to do this preemptively, right? And then the start of your next turn, you draw it. Dude, see, the thing is I think Necro is a really powerful card. I don't remember the combo that you told me in the previous video. I don't know if I've ever seen this Moth card before. But if there was a way to get this card on the board, this is disgusting.
I will say that in black, there's not really a way to get a card out without paying its mana cost. That is definitely something more likely to happen, especially with enchantments. That's more likely to happen like in blue. So not most decks don't have easy access to that.
But you're talking about a format where you can combine colors.
Mm-hmm.
Which means there's probably a way for you to get this out pretty fast. Which means I really think that the Moths card is, dude, it's like this card it's the game. Like if you have the mana to play this, you probably have the mana to win the game. This has to be nuts, dude. Like there's no way this card's not broken.
The bargain?
Yeah, it's set infinite. Well, not infinite, but as long as you have life, you can just keep on drawing and drawing. Like the life is negligible between both cards because you have to pay 1 life regardless.
Yep.
I'm not really sure, like effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this loss of life.
That is old card text, and that text just basically doesn't exist anymore. Like if they were printed at the same time, it wouldn't have that line of text. It would be like the same type of line of text, pay 1 life to set the card aside, put it in your hand. All that other stuff wouldn't be there.
I think this really comes down to if I could cheat out the Moth. Like the Moth card is like, it's like, do you need this card? I don't know. Like there has to be a card in this game that you can put in your deck that says put an enchantment on the board. Like kind of like the Tinker card. Like I feel like they're over Magic's lifespan. There has to be a way for you to cheat this card out, which makes me believe that this card's way better. Because at least like, so I have to remember this in commander terms. If I'm playing Necro, I am putting these cards to the side. It is going around the table fully. And then it's
no, you get the cards at your end step.
Wait, when does your discard phase happen? It happens at the end?
It's at the end of your turn, not the beginning. So you set this, like if you cast this on your turn, you set the cards aside, you go to your end step, you put the cards into your hand.
But your end step means that your turn is over, right?
Yep, you can play instants then, but you can't play sorceries, enchantments, artifacts, creatures. What most likely play pattern is you set a bunch of cards aside, you put them into your hand on your end step. You might have to discard down to 7 cards because that's your max hand size, and you pass the turn.
God, I don't like this one, dude. Okay, for the sake of time, I'm going with the Moth. I think the Moth just has so much potential to win the game on the spot. Like this card's. You remember when did I show you Gadsden Auctioneer in Hearthstone? Like,
yep.
It reminds me a lot of that. Like, if I get Gadsden Auctioneer and I have additional mana, just keep drawing cards. In this case, you're paying life. Like, you just probably win the game. So, I'm going to go with the Moth. I think there's probably a card that lets you cheat it out.
I love that you call it the Moth. Yawgmoth. Yawgmoth is like this big character in Magic. He's just the Moth to you. You are correct. Yes! It is Yawgmoth's bargain. You got it. And this one, if like we condense the argument a lot, comes down to like 3 mana to get the cards on your end step versus 6 mana to get them right now.
Yes.
And maybe keep going. And yes, oftentimes 6 mana is very much like you pay this, you draw these cards now with literally access to all the mana cheating cards in the history of the game in the format. You can probably chain off and do like 20 other things that turn after you draw those cards and often end the game. So yes. What they say is first printed in 1999 and banned in 2006, Yawgmoth's bargain abuses commanders' higher life totals, making the life payment especially trivial. It's too easy and allows for access to a large portion of one's deck without having to guess how far you need to go, and leaves the mana up for casting the cards drawn right away.
Yes.
So the last sentence is particularly why this and not Necro, because I think a lot of people ask this question. Necro, renowned, powerful, amazing card. But the fact that you can pay 1 life, draw, pay 1 life, draw, pay 1 life, draw, as opposed to Necro, which exiles them face down, and you kind of have to, you only get them at this certain time. So you kind of have to be like, did I get what I need? Is this enough?
Exactly.
There's no decision or risk with Yawgmoth's bargain. It's draw, 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 and that gets annoying.
Yep. I can see that for sure. Let's go. Huge.
Yeah, you're on a roll, dude.
That was tough. That was actually a really tough one. These are fun.
These are, I gotta tell you, I had a lot of fun putting these together. So much fun.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. This is great. Okay. What the hell? How the hell do you pronounce this? Panoptic? Panoptic. Panoptic sounds better. Panoptic mirror 5 mana. Imprint? That's a new keyword or word on a card. Let me guess. You can imprint as much mana you want on this when you play it. No, when you use the ability.
No. Imprint is kind of exactly like it says kind of right afterwards what it does. Or it's kind of a weird keyword. I think that when you read this, read the card, read the whole thing, and then tell me what you think it does.
So X mana and tap, you may remove an instant or sorcerer card with converted mana cost X in your hand from the game. That card is imprinted on this artifact. Oh, so it gets like another card on it.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of your upkeep, you may copy an imprinted instant or sorcery card and play the copy without paying its mana cost. Oh, shit. And that's every turn?
At the beginning of your upkeep.
Okay, that doesn't seem broken, surely. Oh god, what the hell is this word? Isotron? Isocron? Isocron. That sounds so much better than what I said. Isocron Scepter 2 neutral. Okay, imprint again. When this comes into play, you remove an instant card with converted cost 2 or less in your hand from the game. And then for 2 mana and you tap this, you may copy the imprinted instant card and play the copy without paying its mana cost. So this is once per turn. You play this when you want to play it, if you want to play it that turn. The other one is you can put any mana into it and it always procs at the start of your turn.
Yep.
God, that is very interesting. Both of these are very interesting. I feel like with the mirror, the potential is a lot higher because it's you're not paying the 2 mana every single turn and you can kind of dictate what card you truly want, which is kind of cool. Now, here's a question for you. Can people interact with mirror at the beginning?
They can blow it up.
They can only remove it though. They can't do anything with the spell that's cast from it.
If you play this card and you pay, let's just use a number, for example, 5, and you tap it and you exile an instant or sorcery, and then an opponent during the next turn cycle removes the mirror with one of many cards that can destroy target artifact or something that wipes the board, destroys all artifacts or all permanents, then you get nothing. And the spell is just permanently exiled and gone.
Ooh. Well, that's not good. But you could block that, right? You can like get rid of your spell and then have like a counter spell ready for if they want to get rid of your artifact, I guess.
If you have protection spells, you can defend your artifact.
That's so crazy though. Like the potential with the mirror is so interesting, but it's a lot of commitment. Like that, it's 5 mana to play it, and then you have to imprint it afterwards. You may
it's very expensive.
Let me think about this in Hearthstone terms. 5 mana to play this. Let's say you're just like an onboard effect, and then have to discard a card and the mana to play that card every single turn at the start of my turn, and I don't get to pay. So let's say the card says something like deal 5 damage. Is it random or you get to pick? I imagine
you get to pick.
Okay.
You may copy an instant or sorcery card and play the copy without paying its mana cost. Yep, your choice.
Is that good? That feels very strong. Man, this is tough because I think it really comes down to how good do I think a Scepter is that you can play the same card over and over again for 2 mana. And honestly, that might just be insane. Because it's every single turn, even if I'm paying 2 mana to put into play, I get a spell that I'm happy to play every single turn. It's like infinite copies of a spell. Do you know how many times in Hearthstone I'm like, I wish I could put 4 copies of this card in my deck. Like, this is what that card basically reads. Infinite copies every single turn as long as this artifact's on board. And it happens so early in the game. Where the other one is like, God, see, the thing comes down to like, wait, you just show me a card that pulls out an artifact.
I showed you Tinker, but Tinker's banned.
Yeah, but that makes me think there has to be other cards that can pull this out. So if you could cheat the mana cost of 5 mana, and then so specific, so specific, and then like your opponent can just, because you have to play this card, and then again it has to go full around the whole table, and then you get it. So if it goes all the way around the table, like sure you might get some value there, but that's kind of, you're kind of living in Disneyland at that point. Where at least with the other one, it dictates on your turn. So I think Scepter is a better card, like objectively a better card. Now, band wise, I like the potential with this mirror. That's the problem here. But I'm gonna go with the card game, like objectively what I think is the better card, which is the Scepter, which I think is gonna be banned. But
okay,
I could see again. There's probably tons of spells I don't realize how powerful the mirror probably can be. So, but I think the Scepter's better.
Okay, so Scepter's banned?
Yeah.
Sorry, Scepter is legal and Panoptic Mirror is banned. So what if I just told you that Time Warp is a card?
Yeah, but so you're saying you imprint the spell, then you play Time Warp, and then you get the spell immediately.
Yeah, you just Time Warp every turn, so you take infinite turns in the game.
Wait, but
that's it.
So you're saying you would go, you would imprint Time Warp on the mirror, and then you would have another Time Warp to cast it, so you just keep going and going and going?
Yeah, a common play pattern would be when this trigger goes on the stack at the beginning of your upkeep to exile the Time Warp. Then you are right that you have to play the mirror. It has to go around, and then it gets back to you, and then you imprint onto it, and you get the effect. You can imprint at the beginning of your upkeep at instant speed in response to itself, which means that you do get something for free the turn after you play this.
I didn't know that's how it worked.
Rules!
Oh, I would have said this is infinitely better if I knew that was how it worked.
I'm sure you would have. Regardless, this card isn't even banned for power level.
Okay.
I'm gonna love reading this rules thing to you because this is so commander. The reason this is banned is so commander. But first, Isochron Scepter is an insanely powerful card and part of a kind of 2-card win the game combo that exists in commander with a card called Dramatic Reversal that for 2 mana instant speed untaps all permanents, including the Scepter, which means that you can just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. It is super strong, but the mirror is banned, and I'm going to read you why.
Okay.
Printed in 2004, banned in 2005, Panoptic Mirror's presence on the ban list serves to remind players the most things are fun in moderation. It was and remains banned because of the incidental, often accidental uses which lead to repetitive, boring games.
Really?
Beyond the obvious extra turns combo, it's a, quote, trap for casual deck builders because it seems like a fun value engine. However, too many different 4+ mana spells, when imprinted, will grind the game to a halt. Wraths, such as board wipes, tutors, search, discard, things that make you players discard, even card draw can yield insurmountable advantage and lock up the game.
Interesting.
They are telling us this is banned because they find it boring.
So I can understand what they're saying, but I feel like there's also like the huge like question of, can't someone just interact with this and say like no? Like, I'm gonna
Great question.
Like, I feel like there is counterplay to a card like this. Am I wrong? Like,
no,
what?
There's a lot. Like, this is of all the cards I've shown you, this is one of the most easy to interact with. It is not like most cards that you play, and then if it goes around the table and you get to your next turn, you win the game, are fine. There's a million cards that proxy this way, that are templated this way.
Yeah.
Insanely powerful effect if you ever get to attack with it. Insanely powerful effect if you ever get to untap with it. And for some reason, this mirror is the one that's banned. I agree. It's wild.
Really interesting. Really, really interesting. See, like that would have been impossible for me to guess. Like wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That would have been one where it's like, that would have put you like over the top. You'd be you'd be a commander master at that point.
I think, listen, as far as like, I'm really happy that I picked the Scepter as the better card because it seems like objectively it is the better card. So in my mind, I was like, that card seems like it could be really abusable if you get a really good 2 cost on it.
I think it's the better card.
That is surprising. Okay, whatever. It's fine. That was a difficult one.
Shake it off.
Sundering Titan. 8 mana. When this enters the battlefield or leaves the battlefield, choose a land of each basic land type and then destroy those lands. So, just for like reference, if I say like island, all those islands get destroyed?
Not exactly. So it says choose a land of each basic type. So you would choose 1 island, 1 forest, 1 mountain, 1 plains, and 1 swamp, because there are 5 lands that have basic types. You would choose 1 of each of those. So 5 total probably, and destroy those lands.
Oh, sure. Okay, and that happens when it enters and when it leaves.
Yep.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on. The potential in that card is so I'm gonna stop swearing on your channel. I don't know if you like it. It's very annoying. It's very frustrating. Global ruin. Sorry, what a card. Is that a nuke they dropped? My god.
It does appear to be a nuke, yes.
4 neutral, 1 white.
That appears to be a mushroom cloud or a wedding cake out of control.
What is the world called for wizards? What is this place called?
The multiverse, but this is Dominaria, I believe.
The
in this
multiverse.
Art. Don't worry about it.
Okay, whatever. So nukes are canon to Magic. Each player chooses from the lands he or she controls a land of each basic land type and sacrifices the rest. So if I only have islands and I have to pick one, that means I sacrifice all my islands even though I don't want to.
That's right.
Oh my god. That's disgusting. So one of these says make your opponent's life hell. The other one also says make your opponent's life hell.
That's correct.
And that's correct.
One of these is banned, one isn't.
Wow. So I don't know. Global ruin is so nasty, man. It's okay. It's a sorcery, so your opponent can't interact with it, I guess. I guess they can also interact with instants, but wow, if this was an instant spell, this would be so annoying. The thing about the fact like the Titan here is really, really interesting because I feel like there is a way for you to keep like I don't know how much the stat line matters. I'm sure it does. But the fact that you can like maybe keep bringing it back is where I'm coming back to this, because in Hearthstone this would be a battle cry effect, right? Remove one of your opponent's mana crystals, whatever,
and a death rattle.
So yeah, like if I resurrect it, sure, it gets to the death rattle, but this is when it enters and then leaves. So it happens twice for every time that this card enters the battlefield, which seems insane. Oh my god. And then you could target one person who's going to win, make their life miserable. But you can only do so you can only do 1 per basic land type per time. So
yeah, up to 5 lands per time.
This one's slower. Up to 5. So you don't have to pick all 5.
Let's see. Choose a land. It is required.
So you have if
you're the only one at the table with islands, you have to blow up your islands.
Oh my god. That's pretty stupid. Which makes me think the new card is way better. Man, the new card is so silly. You would ruin someone's life so quickly. They would hate you. They would hate you. Because this is like it's not even like a tech card. Like you pick the most common one that you're not playing with, and you just say fuck you, and then they're sitting there upset because their game is just destroyed. Were you gonna say something?
Oh, I was trying to understand which one you were talking about.
The ruin card.
Okay, this one says each player chooses from the lands they control a land of each type. So if they have lands of different types, if they're like a 5-color deck, they could keep 5 lands. If they're a 3-color deck, it's possible they could keep 3 lands, but they do lose all the others. And it happens to you as well.
Right. But the thing about this card is you could play your turn and then play this card. So that you lose the mana, sure, but you also got such a huge advantage for all the cards you played beforehand.
I see. Yep.
That's why, like, yeah, you're destroying your mana crystals, but like it's probably or mana crystals, your lands, but it's easier for you to make use of this card because you preemptively get to do other stuff before you play this.
Yep.
So in my mind, it's really, really interesting that this card is just unfun sometimes, but so is the other one. But the other one is not as like brutal because it's only 1 per basic land. It's not all of the basic lands that someone controls, and sometimes someone's forced to make an awful decision. And yeah, like in the circumstances where someone's playing like 5 different colors, yeah, like I guess this is not going to be as brutal. But if they're also running 5 different colors, it is going to affect their win condition. So regardless, it's doing something. God, I think it's the new card, dude. I don't know. The only thing that's stopping me from just outright saying it is like, I think with the Titan, there was a good chance you could just keep resummoning this effect over and over again. And it is just so frustrating. Because you could put this in any deck, right? It's just neutral.
That's right.
Fuck. I don't like this game anymore. These are so close. I'm trying to think in Hearthstone which one I would hate more. Because like if I'm thinking purely like I don't think any of these are like insanely powerful effects in terms of what you have shown me, but they do really halt the game and they do really make for an unfun experience. But I guess the hoops that you have to go through for the Titan is much more than just I'm playing this rune card, good luck. So I'm gonna say that the rune card is banned, but honestly I wouldn't be surprised if the other one too, but I think it's just easier to play the global rune.
I see. Sundering Titan is banned.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And you were on it. You were on it. A lot has to do with the creature aspect, also the artifact aspect. I'm gonna since it's the final exam, you know, Professor CGB is just gonna throw a little thing your way. Artifacts are kind of busted.
Fair enough.
All right, let's read what they have to say. Printed in 2004, banned in 2012. Sundering Titan. There are many lands that players would love to see leaving the battlefield, but Sundering Titan doesn't target those. This is alluding to the fact that it targets basic land types, which usually only produce mana, not lands that have other abilities. All right. Decks that blink or bounce, Sundering Titan can utilize its effect repeatedly, leading to an environment where it's nearly impossible for opponents to keep basic lands in play. Basic land destruction is a predictably unpopular mechanic, especially in an environment when you don't know the people you're playing against. There's some social dynamic stuff here. In a way, it's a lot better to cast a card like Global Ruin, where we all go through this, compared to Sundering Titan, which is fuck you. Sure. Okay. Yep, that is part of the whole commander thing. Why did I give you a thumbs up? Hold on. Remove that reaction. Sorry. Scammed. There we go.
Okay. That is like, it's so tough. It's so tough. I wish I had like one game of Commander under my belt to really understand like the dichotomy of how the game plays.
That's a good idea. We should play a game of Commander. If only somebody were trying to make this happen.
Listen,
who had this idea?
Listen, I promise, dude. I promise. That's so tough. Fuck. I hate this game.
Hang. You can do it. You can do it. It's not over yet.
What am I on right now? 1, 2. I lost that one. 3, 4. Okay. I think I'm positive.
Yep. We're still positive. 4-3. You got it. You need this one. You can't slip.
Okay, sorry. Consecrated Sphinx. What the hell? That thing's ugly. Or neutral 2 blue, flying. Whenever an opponent draws a card, you may draw 2 cards. Nice. And it's flying and it's a 4/6. That sounds fun. Okay. Trade secrets. 1 neutral, 2 blue. Target opponent draws 2 cards. Then you drop the 4 cards. That opponent may repeat this process as many times as she or he chooses. Target opponent draws 2 cards. Then you draw 4 cards. So they could draw as many cards as they want. And then, but this is happening on your turn. So they can get resources, but they're also giving you more resources before you have to discard them at the end of your turn. So you're paying 3 mana to draw 4. Because they have to at least draw it once, right?
Yep. Has to happen once.
Whenever an opponent draws a card, you may draw 2 cards. Both of these are very interesting. One of these are banned?
One of these is banned.
Huh. These don't seem as brutal as the other ones. All the other ones feel like there's some degenerate combo that can be done with this. I guess like drawing cards is the combo enabler. Trade secrets seems like a pretty cool card. 3 mana in Hearthstone. My opponent draws 2, I draw 4. I'd play that card. Demon Hunter currently has a card in the game that is 3 mana. Both players draw 3. But if it's outcasted, which means it's on the left or most right side of your hand, it is just you. And that card sees play. So,
interesting.
Trade secrets doesn't feel that bad. I actually really like the design of that card. I don't know about the last sentence. It's kind of spooky, especially in Hearthstone. Like they would have to be a little bit reworded. But in Magic, it's cool because you don't have a hand size until the end of your turn. Random ass question: has there ever been a point when you played Magic where you just like had like your whole hand in your deck, or your whole deck in your hand?
I walk around with my whole deck in my hand.
What do you mean by that?
Nothing. No, I have certainly been there. There's even a card that draws your entire deck in Magic that exists. Yeah.
I don't know. This is like nothing really pops to my mind. Like I could see Sphinx also, I guess, being like really good. Because Sphinx is like you put this on the board and then you're constantly drawing cards, and by the time it goes back to your turn, I guess you just have an insane hand size. Like the world is your oyster at that point, right?
It's pretty wild.
The other one is just so intriguing. I don't know. Like I don't think that trade secrets would be banned. Like if I'm thinking from like a pure like mental game, like I think it's cool that your opponent gets to decide how many cards you end up drawing at the cost, not at the cost, at the trade of how many draws they get to do, or how many cards they get to draw as well, which I think is like really cool. It's a cool mini game. I guess the problem with Sphinx is like you put it on board, and unless it's answered literally immediately, you're guaranteed to draw 2 cards when you pass the turn over, which is cool, I guess. And then it keeps on going, and also I'm sure there's other cards that say like. Just like trade secrets that force your opponents to draw cards and you get more cards.
Yep, those exist.
Man, I'm gonna be honest here. You got me lost on this one. I'm gonna imagine that Sphinx is the one that's banned though. It just feels like it's just the one that feels worse to play with. Because it's like every time you draw, your opponent gets to draw 2 cards. And you're like, why does he get to keep drawing cards? What the fuck is this? The only issue with this is like, is trade secrets just the nuts? But your opponent stops you if they think that you're going to have a combo. So I'm going to go Sphinx.
Consecrated Sphinx is banned.
I'm going to go with that purely because of the mental thing it causes. Just like it just feels bad to play against it. I can't imagine that trade secrets feels that bad. It doesn't feel egregious either. So sure, I'll go with the Sphinx.
Trade secrets is banned.
Fuck.
Why?
Oh, this one hurts.
Why?
I will read it. The place I think that you're missing is, I think you're giving your opponents too much credit. You think they would stop?
Oh, you're saying my opponent is not knowledgeable enough, and they just want more cards in their hand, so that when their turn comes around, it feels good. But then they don't realize that how many cards they give you is just fucking gonna win you the game.
Now, imagine that in a social setting. Imagine like how you choose who to cast it on, the kind of words and language you use, and what if from there you just combo off and win.
But okay, but also, here's a question for you.
Okay.
Can't your opponent just be like, keep drawing until you deck?
It is a may. So target opponent draws 2 cards, then you draw up. It's not may, but you draw up to 4 cards. You can choose 0. So if the opponent tries to deck you, you can stop.
I still don't understand why that would be banned. I'm gonna be honest.
We're going to the website. Oh, this is okay.
This is okay. Before you even say it, like, am I wrong to think that the Sphinx is it's a good card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
so it's really good. It's really good.
Is my logic wrong to think that the Sphinx would be more of an issue if I'm thinking purely just from the card itself, like not even from the social aspect of it?
I think that one of the things about Sphinx is that players who come from playing 1v1 understand immediately how busted it is that every time a player draws a card, this one player draws 2, right?
Yeah.
And they are like, that thing has to die.
Right.
You know? And I think that casual players are like, oh, that's nice. You get cards and I get cards. And they don't realize it's what's killing them.
The card game experience is where this card is banned. Like the knowledge, literally the knowledge, it's a skill diff, like 100%. Like this
Commander is a casual format, my friend. You play with people from a lot of backgrounds, and it's most played by people who do not have a competitive understanding of card games.
See, but like in that, 100% agree with you. But then if you go back to the previous pair you just gave me, like under that logic, it would feel like the new card would immediately want to be banned. Just because
whoa. You're trying to apply logic across different banned cards here. That is insane.
Fair enough. Okay. Go ahead.
First printed in 1998. Banned in 2013. Trade Secrets is a flag bearer for the banning principle of cards which interact poorly with the multiplayer nature of the format, as it's a cheap spell that allows 2 players to collude, draw unlimited cards, and box the other players out of the game.
You're gonna have to use that in terms of speaking to me like I'm a normal person. Would you say to me?
Yeah. So if you and I sit down to play with, say, Voxy and another friend of ours who plays Magic, and we just don't want Voxy or our other friend to play Magic, I'll just cast Trade Secrets at you and be like, hey, Raren, how about you and I draw like 50, 60 cards, and so they get nothing.
I finally understand what you mean. You're saying that like I can form an alliance with somebody so they get cards, and then it's like the other players are like, wow, why is he picking him over us two to get these cards? Okay, I finally understand what you mean. I finally understand. Okay. I can understand it now why it's banned. Sure. Okay, whatever.
And if I'm trying to shark a game, if I'm trying to maximize a game and there's some Johnny New Kid at the table, and say you and Voxy and me and Johnny New Kid are at the table, I'm going to target Johnny New Kid and be like, you want more cards, right? Just keep going.
Okay, so you're preying on someone who is bad at the game so you get the advantage of it. I understand what you're saying now. Okay. Sure. That's fine. Okay.
Actually, that's really funny. Dynamics. Yeah.
But okay.
It is indeed. It gets ugly. It gets ugly out here. All right.
That's really funny, to be honest.
You've come to an important point in this video. You are 4-4, and there's 2 to go. This is going to determine if you finish on a winning record or not. Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. This is very important.
Man. It's so difficult. You don't understand.
I have. Okay. We recorded a Hearthstone video before this that broke my brain. I understand.
Okay. Oh God. Sylvan.
Sylvan Primordial.
Okay. 5 neutral, 2 green. Reach. Reach is it does damage. No, that is the other word. Reach is what? It can go. Does it get blocked? What does this mean? Oh no, it can hit flying. It can hit flying.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. Yeah, pass my quiz. When this enters the battlefield, each opponent destroy target non-creature permanent that the player controls. For each permanent destroyed this way, search your library for a forest card and put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. See, remember when you're showing me those other cards, which is the natural order? Like, this is the type of effect that I think would be like miserable to play against if you pulled it out early enough. Like, this is what I mean. Like, that just sounds so unfun to play against. You destroy theirs and you get more. Like, come on. What is this? Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger? Excuse me? Okay. This is a commander.
It's a legendary creature, yeah.
6 neutral, 2 green. This has trample. This is the effect I was thinking of last time. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land produce. Whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, that land doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Okay. That's fucked up. Oh god, see, now I'm in like... Okay, they're both the same mana cost. No, one costs 1 more. Stats, are we really considering stats here? Maybe, I don't know. Reach and trample, yeah, whatever. But I'd rather destroy cards my opponent has, and every time I destroy one, I get to look through my deck and pull out a battlefield tap. And the battlefield is the green mana, correct?
A forest.
Forest. Sorry, forest.
But,
yeah, sorry. Yes, that's
okay. We broke your brain. We're hanging in there.
Dude,
pull it together.
I'm leaning so. You should see my face right now. I'm like giga thinking right now. When an opponent taps a land for mana, that land doesn't untap during its controller's actions. Okay, like I feel like as much as I think the Voice of Hunger is a good card, the other one destroys people's stuff, and I also get additional mana. Vorinclex feels like a card that is good, but not as egregious as the other card. But they're both bad in a specific way that would make the game unfun for your players. And if we're thinking about the dynamic of Commander, both of these cards are unfun. But I think getting more mana, like I feel like destroying your opponent's stuff is worse than stopping their lands from untapping. But I haven't had to deal with my lands not untapping. I guess if your lands are untapping or not untapping, you don't get to play the game anymore. And if I destroy stuff on the board, I guess you get to still play the game. So I guess there's something to be said there, which makes me think the Voice of Hunger is the one that's banned, because I'd rather have something destroyed and I still get to play the game than not get to play the game at all. So I'm going to go with, in that logic entirely, I'm going with the Vorinclex card.
You're going with Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger?
Yeah. I'm confident.
And it's a commander. Primordial is banned. Oh, I'm sorry.
Dude,
sorry.
This is so, like, it is so difficult to tell which one of these is, because, like, the last one, I'm preying on a fucking casual kid at my table. The one before that, like, I'm making my opponent's life miserable, so that's the reason why it's banned, because it's more miserable than the other card. This one is taking the last two ones, ruining people's lives, and it's still not the right... Okay, sorry, continue. I'm gonna...
And you were right. Like, natural order is legal. That was the one that was not banned. So you can get, these are green creatures. You can have one of these for 4 mana. And yeah, Vorinclex is fine. Sylvan Primordial is banned. Do you remember Primeval Titan? It's 6 mana, 6/6 trample. And when it enters, you search for 2 lands.
Yes. That sounds
all right. Just giving that for context because they mention it in their reasoning for why it's banned. Because Primeval Titan is banned in Commander. First printed in 2013 in a Commander product, by the way, and banned in 2014. Sometimes considered an attempt to fix Primeval Titan, Sylvan Primordial ended up being just as bad and sometimes worse. It can only get forests, but accelerates by 2 to 3 lands while knocking other players even further behind, often flickering out to repeat the effect. The resulting mana gap is usually insurmountable, and Sylvan Primordial is yet another example of a card which looks fun for the builder but makes the games repetitive.
Okay. Doesn't the other card also do that? I don't know.
So I think you were really close, because you're like, okay, if when this comes out, I get the lands and I get the effect with Sylvan Primordial, right? And
Right.
even if the Sylvan Primordial dies, you still have the lands afterwards. If Vorinclex comes out and somebody, like there's 3 players at the team, one player bites the bullet and kills the Vorinclex, and now their lands don't untap next turn, or at least some amount of their lands don't untap next turn, the other players go on playing the game. Like when Vorinclex is gone, the advantage is gone. It's a classic dies to removal kind of argument.
Yeah.
And I've seen this card in Commander many times. I've played against it as a Commander. And the way that the politics usually work is, okay, they played the big scary Vorinclex card that we hate. I'm going to tap my lands. I'm going to kill it, guys. I'm going to kill it. Leave me alone for the next turn, please. If I do this, please leave me alone for the next turn because I'm biting a huge bullet to do this. And the other players are like, yes, please get that thing out of there. We don't want to lose to it. So this creates a feeling of we work together and we solve a problem. Whereas Sylvan Primordial just comes out, we're all in a much worse position and that person's way ahead, even if we do something about the Primordial.
So I think like I was right on the logic of the card. I just picked the other one because it would feel, in my mind, it feels worse to not have anything to play with the next turn. Because I was, what you said is like, it makes an insurmountable lead. Like, that's basically what it comes down to. And that's obviously very strong. But in my mind, I was like, if I don't get to play the next turn, like that feels even worse than like something destroyed. So
yeah, Vorinclex is a hated card, and I agree. I don't understand why Sylvan Primordial is banned and why Primeval Titan is banned, because like somebody getting ahead, like you can battle back, and then there are these cards that don't let you play the game, like Vorinclex, which is like why?
See, like this is the type of stuff that makes these almost impossible because it is so wishy-washy depending on like what you show me. Like it is, like, it's almost like I should just. I was gonna say maybe I should just pick what I believe is the best card every single time, but that doesn't seem to be how it works either. So like I don't fucking know. Like I'm literally the committee at this point. I'm just throwing darts on a wall and hoping it works.
I think part of what I love about these videos, a lot of people feel the way you do, and I agree with you on a lot of these. The Commander ban list might feel much closer to darts at a board than anything else. But
okay. Well, I can
games are games, baby.
I can only go 50-50 now. I'm lucky.
You can break even. I would say getting half right. You know, if you flipped a coin, you'd usually get there. So let's see what we can do.
Oh God.
I think this is the hardest one.
Oh. Let's try this out. Draenith, Magistrate, right? Yeah.
I think Droneth is universally accepted.
Droneth. Okay. 1 neutral, 1 white. Your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands. Where else would I cast spells from? This could be an
The
example.
command zone.
Oh. Well, I'm really glad I asked that question. that's important. Okay.
There are also a number of spells that let you cast cards from graveyards, exile, libraries, various zones that this also turns off. But the command zone is probably the notable one for this card.
Okay. Flash, 1 neutral, 1 blue. Instant. You may put a creature card from your hand on the battlefield. If you do, sacrifice it unless you pay its mana cost reduced by up to 2. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you do, sacrifice it unless you pay its mana cost reduced by up to 2. So you're basically just taking the mana off from paying this card onto that card. What the fuck? Huh. So you say this is the hardest, but I can't imagine a card that says you don't get to play your commander in the commander format is fun to play with. That just seems like that's not good for the mode, right? Like that's where my mind goes to. But I can't. Let me think about this in Hearthstone. I guess in some circumstances, sacrificing a card is really good. Because I don't understand why you wouldn't just play the card. So you're playing this for 2 mana to sacrifice the card. Is that good? That's probably good. In Hearthstone, that's not good. But in Magic,
So part of in Hearthstone is the difference between a battle cry and an enters trigger. This gives you an enters trigger. You wouldn't get a battle cry in Hearthstone.
I really appreciate you saying that, because I would have not assumed that would have not worked unless you paid its mana cost. Because that, in my mind, it doesn't hit the battlefield. But I guess it hits the battlefield and then you decide to sacrifice it.
Yeah. And for example, that Sundering Titan that we already know is banned, so it's not relevant to this discussion of whether or not Flash is banned. But if you used Flash, then for 2 mana, you would get the enters and leaves trigger of the Sundering Titan.
That seems good. That seems good. Wow. So the conversation comes down to, is there something worse that I could pull out that its enter the battlefield effect is worse than stopping my opponent from playing their commander? But the more I think about the commander card, it's like, it's not that difficult to just kill it or like do something about it. I guess they never have to block with it, but I'm sure there's spells that you would play to deal with a minion, and someone just takes the L, like you said, on the board. So it actually takes like, if we're talking standard, like Flash is fucked. That is an insane card if it enters the battlefield. So in Hearthstone, I have to look at that as like, you pay 2 mana you pick the creature as well to add to the board. You would proc its battle cry, and then if it dies, it dies. But I get the battle cry effect. Do you know how broken in Hearthstone that would end up being?
It would be, yeah, if it had the battle cry and the death rattle, like any cards that did both.
There are cards in this game that say, like, there's a card that they added recently that says, if your deck has no duplicates, every battle cry you play is doubled. And that card is 8 mana currently. So I just flashed on turn 2, I win. Like, that is disgusting. Like, I don't care about the body. I just want the battle cry effect. That has to be disgusting. But there's so weird, like that's a small voice. Now there's a louder voice in my brain that is saying to me, that's a card that stops your players from playing their commander in the commander format. So like, I'm really out here asking myself, is that much of a problem in a casual setting where people are like, my whole deck's based around this card, now I can't play it, I don't have anyone to remove it, rather than just losing the game to an instant spell? Like, again, I am sure there are infinitely better cards that you could summon that have an enter the battle cry effect that absolutely ruin the game instantly. But is that worse than stopping your other players from playing their battle cry? Because you can still play your commander. You don't care. You get to play yours. What do I care? Oh my god, dude. You really had to put this one at the end.
I told you.
This
is it. Final exam, baby.
What is this? Dude, surely it's Flash. Surely it's Flash. Like, it has to be Flash. Here's one question. Can I use Flash to pull my commander?
No. Your commander is in the command zone, not in your hand, unless some other effect put it in your hand.
No, okay. No. I'm going to go Flash. Okay? And I'm going Flash because there's no way in hell a card that says you can't play your commander in a commander game and no one has removal for it. There has to be, like, you have to be able to answer this card. There's no way it's worse than Flash. I'm going with Flash.
You're telling me you're going with Flash instead of the card that says you can't play your commander in the commander format.
It's bait.
It is bait. It's Flash.
Okay.
You got it. Oh, I'm so proud of you. Oh my God. Dranith Magistrate is kind of a meme. It's a very mean card, and people on Twitter complain about it all the time, that there's this creature that says you can't play your commander in the commander format. And you know what people reply to them with and dunk on them with Twitter with? Run more removal.
I mean, they're not wrong.
Yep. So Flash, on the other hand, first printed in 1996, banned in 2020. Took him a while on this one. Flash effectively allows players to evoke a creature in their hand for 1 and a blue. Evoke is a keyword in Magic that lets you bring it in and then it dies immediately. Many other formats have recognized that the mechanism that Flash uses to do this prevents meaningful interaction. Worse, because Flash's power is tied to the creatures that are being cheated into play, its power increases over time as creature designs become more powerful. That is the explanation on the page. What I don't think they're willing to write on the page is that Flash is probably the only time that the committee caved to peer pressure from competitive Commander players, because they've said many times that they do not ban for the competitive side of the format. Okay. They banned Flash because the competitive players wanted it gone, because the format was very much about, because it's an instant speed, staring at each other and seeing who will go for it. Because there's a card called Protein Hulk, which when it dies, you get to search your library for like this much worth of creature stats, put it into play. And those creature stats were immediately an I win the game now combo.
Yep.
They combined for an instant on the spot win combo. So this was 2 mana, a death rattle, as it turned out, not even an enters, a death rattle that won the game on the spot. And because it was instant speed, you could wait till your opponent tried to do their combo and respond with your combo. And it got into just this bad staring match that they didn't like. And yeah, the competitive community were the only ones like playing Flash Hulk combo for the most part, although it did show up in a few casual circles, I'm sure, and do some stupid things. And the competitive community wanted this gone, and they did. That's the only time that the committee, according to them, has banned for the competitive sake of the format. And what's funny is the Flash Hulk combo thing going didn't actually change. It arguably changed the meta a bit for that competitive CEDH, but Thassa's Oracle was printed like a month later, and now that's what that format's all about.
Okay. I got you.
So, but yep, you got it. Flash was the big one, and it was banned for reasons that no other card on this list was banned for. So that's why I called it the hardest one and the final exam. And I thought putting it up against a card that literally didn't let you play your commander was a hell of a bait.
That is a hell of a bait. I feel like I always went for it. But there's no way, right? Like, there's no way. There has to be more removal in the game. Like, that is a fair assessment. Just run more. Oh, God.
How you doing? You okay?
My brain hurts from this. It's so difficult because it's not even like, is the card... you have to ask yourself, is the card good? But also, like, is it bannable? Like, it's 2 layers. And then you hit me with, like, no, that card's not fucking banned. And then my whole world is shattered. Then you do it again to me. Like,
I've got good news for you. Okay, we've gone through nearly the entire ban list. There are not enough banned cards in Commander to make another video on. So you at this point know all you need to know about the Commander ban list. So at least you'll be spared from this absolutely wild logic in our future dealings.
Is it worse that I don't feel any better than before when we started this? I think I was more hopeful before we started all these videos. Oh, I'm just lost.
I think it says something about it.
Okay.
But I think the people understand. Well, thank you for being on the show. Any final thoughts at the end of the trilogy here?
I feel like you should do one more card pair so I can actually get a passing grade. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like it feels weird.
You want one more?
I feel like it feels weird if I ended at 50%.
Okay. Oh no, that's right. Ending at 50% is BS. Let's do one more.
Let me cut this in the video if I don't get it right. Just end it.
No,
just end it before I said anything.
No.
What do you mean no? Libby, I'll go get my cat. I'll go get my cat.
No. Go get your cat. You think I care? You think
she'll care?
I'm cold-hearted.
You know what?
I don't care.
You know, there's no way that you're going through this entire video to verify that she put this at the end. There's no way. Nope. I don't believe it.
Fine. Here. There's like one more card you haven't seen on the list, so we'll use it.
Oh, God.
One of them just says destroy all lands. Okay.
Falling Star. Flip star onto the playing area from a height of at least 1 foot. Star must turn at least 360 degrees or it has no effect. When Falling Star lands, Falling Star does 3 damage to each creature that it touches. Any creature damaged by Falling Star that is not destroyed becomes tapped. Wow. And can I rip it up and it still counts? Is that legal?
I don't know.
Oh, God.
I'm helping you 0 on this one. You demanded a tiebreaker.
Why are
Here
you being
go.
so mean?
Because I had a plan, I had an outro, and now here we are doing one more.
Wait, but like I'm doing this like the content. I'm doing this for you.
You get no help on this
Libby,
one.
I'm sorry for the extra
You
wash.
have to pass. You have to pass on your own merits.
Well, okay, so a card that says destroy all lands.
I'm sure that is. That's kind of unfun, I guess. I mean, you destroy, it resets the game. You do this after you do your turn, I guess, whatever. So it's kind of whatever. The other card is kind of just a bunch of fuckery, I'm gonna be honest. But I think in a social setting, it's kind of funny. From a height of 1 foot, that's not that high up though. But it has to turn 360. So when it says turn 360, does it mean like it has to flip over entirely, or like does it mean like I could spin it? Does that make sense? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Totally.
Do anything? Let me get a paint. Hold on.
Let me just add this to Libby's art collection for this video.
Do you understand what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like, does that matter how I do it?
How? Yes.
I'm gonna say Armageddon's band.
You're gonna say Armageddon's band.
Yep.
God damn it. Falling Stars band. You showed so much promise. Look what the command list has done to my boy. You've forgotten Chaos Orb. You've forgotten.
Look, Chaos Orb is infinitely better than this card.
Cards that, from the website, cards that require manual dexterity present unique accessibility challenges for the format.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about the
We
accessibility.
don't
I'm
We
horrible.
don't want Commander to be a format where you can only play if you can engage in specific physical actions. Falling Star incentivizes players to physically spread their cards out over a large... It's copy-paste Chaos Orb.
Yeah, but listen, I mean, one of them just says destroy all lands. I don't know. I feel like that one's way worse.
It is. It is way worse, and it's legal. And that, my friends, is the Commander ban list.